What's good, guys? We are back. It's been a while since I've been available, and hence why this is so late, but a little better late than never. So, welcome to the UCC channel. I'm, of course, Checkmate, coach of the Twickenham Passimian, and I'm your host for today's post-commentary and battle review of my Season 10, Week 4 match and team builder against Ben, coach of the Rabid Stunfisk Epidemic. So far this season, we're not doing so hot. We are 1-2, and we are looking to improve this from here on in, so make sure I give ourselves the best opportunity to make the playoffs. So, a quick cover of my roster, which we haven't seen in a while. We've got our Mega, which is our Tier 1, which is Altaria. We have a Tier 1 of Nagina. Our Tier 2s are Celebi, Mamoswine and Mandibuzz. Our Tier 3s of Mini or Cabalion, Tentacruel. Tier 4s of Rizion, Moltres and Ambipom. And our Tier 5 of Miltank. We have our opponent this week, who has a very strong roster. But although it's a very solid team, I do have to take this with a slightly different approach as normal for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Ben is actually returning to Pokemon after a dry spell, and he actually has Pokemon teams such as Nugget, which he doesn't even know exists. So he's learning the team, which he also didn't draft, which is the second reason. He is actually covering in for Fox Dean, who had to drop out for personal reasons. Lastly, I know Ben personally, and he is a unique battler and prepper. He's at one with the meme team, as it were, and is not afraid to bring weird and wonderful sets, so I have to be aware of that. So with all that said, let's go over his team quickly. His Mega is a Tier 2 of Absol. He has 3 Tier 1s in Naganadel, Fable and Terrakion, a Tier 2 of Milotic, Tier 3s of Fortress, Shaman and Uxie, Tier 4 of Komala, and 3 Tier 5s of Pikachu, Steelix and Charizard. So, looking very briefly over the teams, I could see that I have a lot of potential options against him, and he has a couple of options himself which are fairly reliable against me, which are the Naganadel, Terrakion, and potentially even Fable. It could be a problem. I don't have particularly any strong poison types, with my poison type being Tentacruel, and my steel type, spoilers, I'm not bringing this week. However, I am particularly solid against Shaman, but the only thing it really affects is really my Mamoswine, which offensively beats it anyway. So, yeah, I'm not really expecting Shaman, I have to be honest. Looking at his team, there's so many things which could be a problem for him, it's not even funny. Altaria, Fire plus Fairy coverage is very strong, so with access to things like Hyper Voice and Flame throughout Fire Blast, it could be very strong. As Mamoswine, Ice plus Ground is consistently a very, very solid typing. As Rizion, Nagina, potentially even Mandibuzz could be a problem for him to break if his threats such as Terrakion potentially drops, or even the Nugget, which can threaten me on the special side. There's a few things which he could be solid against depending on the team he brings. So looking at things like Celebi, Minior, maybe Moltres or Ambipom. He's got a couple of steel types there, so there's potential for him to have fairly solid matchups against those, but it's nothing which sticks out as being a terrible matchup. So it's something to be able to work with quite nicely as it works out. So going over the team I have brought, well, as you can see, my opponent's team is just popping up on the screen now, and I really do have to be careful about that Naganadel, as I don't have anything which directly defensively counters it. And I always have a potential, although I have potential for a number of setup, it means I have plenty of routes I can go and options available to me for this game. So the first one on my team, weirdly enough, is one of the ones which doesn't have the strongest of matchups, being Celebi. So Celebi's role this week is to really set up. Its idea is to put up a substitute or a nasty plot and put some pressure on his team, really. It's very bulky, with 248 HP, and it has enough speed to outspeed his basically maximum base 90s, which includes Pikachu or below. Because there's not really a lot of point in me trying to outspeed his Uxie at 95 or even some of his base 100s, because I don't really have a particular care on that matchup. With our bulk rig set up on things like the Fortress or the Pikachu, should he want to bring those, and also potentially those defensive ones like the Milotic if it doesn't have Ice Beam, or Clefable depending on its set as well. So the goal really for Celebi is to set up a nasty block, a substitute, Baton Pass into one of our other threats on the team and roll from there. So the primary target for the Baton Pass is actually our Bespin, the Altaria this week. Rocking Hyper Voice, Flamethrower, Agility and Roost, we do have that Fire Fairy coverage is very solid against him, and it's able to cover both bases for that really well, with obviously 100% accuracy and fairly high power moves as well. So running our modest max special attack for this set this week, and it's got enough speed to outspeed uninvested base 95, so that UCC, just so we can just get off a finishing kill. We don't necessarily have to be Thunder Waved or something potentially. So got a little bit of speed investment for that, and it leaves us enough bulk to be able to take a couple of hits as well. Agility at +2 will be able to outspeed his whole team aside Scarfers, and obviously if you get that +2 special attack from the Celebi as well, we have a very good shot straight up at sweeping his team, especially if Clefable is not unaware. Roost is there for a bit of longevity, and Natural Cure to start with means I can sponge a status for one of my teammates, and then just double back out, heal myself up. So yeah, fairly simple role, designed to just basically sweep. That's all it's got to do this week. So continuing on, we have Adamant Banded Mamoswine. It's designed to offensively check Naganadel. It does over 50% with Banded Ice Shard if it's a Yachi Berry Naganadel and straight up Okos, depending on his HP investment of course, with the Ice Shard from full. So I'm not hugely threatened as long as I have Mamoswine alive, but it is definitely something that pressures his team aside from that Naganadel of course as well. He also has Stealth Rocks, which I'm not expecting to click because it offensively threatens his team so well. So it's really there almost as a filler, because I only need ground plus ice coverage. The Stealth Rocks is there, and should I be able to get them up, great. If not, I'm not going to worry about it, but it does give it an opportunity, if it gets burnt or knocked off, to still have something it can do. Obviously if it's burnt or not, it's still going to do a huge amount of damage, but yeah, it gives another option, I guess. It's got 239 speed, outspeeds uninvested base 100, so that's a shame in Charizard, and I got the rest in bulk for Tadmor, or the rest in HP for Tadmor bulk. So continuing on, we have our Tentacruel, Man of War. I think this is the first time we've brought it this season? Might be. Anyway, it's my defensive response to Naganadel this week, and all its special attackers, and it's designed to be able to switch in, take a hit, and allow him to pressure it with an Ice Beam. Scald and Sludge Bomb actually have really good coverage against his team as well. I was considering a couple of other options, potentially Haze being primary route option, and yeah, it's designed to really defensively check his special threats. Liquid Ooze threatens the Shaman as well, which if he wants to Leech Seed or Giga Drain me. But yeah, this is really no messing around with the Naganadel, fully specially defensive, and it's also my hazard remover. So continuing on, we have our Poison Ivy, the Virizion. It's designed to be our late game sweeper, well, potentially anyway, because it's designed for when he doesn't have mons to effectively break it. Carbine Phytinium with Synthesis and Giga Drain supporting the Focus Blast, and it's fully physically defensive, so that when I Carbine up, we're pretty damn bulky on both aspects. Hopefully that will allow me to set up on threats like the Terrakion, Fortress, Steelix quite happily, and also resist Edgequake, and if he's a choiced Terrakion, that allows me to switch in on that quite comfortably in lots of scenarios as well. When I get a Carmine up or two, his best check really is Clefable or Naganadel, but I do struggle really with the Naganadel anyway, seeing as I don't have coverage for it. But we'll see, it's not the ultimate response, but it's certainly workable, which is what I'm after. But yeah, it's designed to be a late game sweeper, and it's hopefully going to be able to claim a couple of kills. Finally, we have our Magearna. which is another potential sweeper, going all out on that this week. It's a Shift Gear beginner, excellent coverage for his team, and once again rocking that Fairy Fire coverage, which is so solid. But it also gets Flash Cannon as well, being offset Steel type, which allows me to beat the Fable as well, which is very, very convenient. We've got enough speed, so that when we Shift Gear we have enough speed to outspeed his whole team, obviously excluding Scarface again. And that allows us to have a modest nature and quite a lot of bulk as well. Got the Ockerberry, allows me to take it from the Naganadel and the Charizard, as well as potentially from the Absol or even the Fable, should they be running Fire Blast or Flamethrower or something. So yeah, that is the team for this week. Make sure you pop in the comment section what your thoughts are, and if you think my prep will be enough to overcome Ben's roster. So let's move on to the battle. Alright, so we are now at the post-commentary battle for this game. So as you can see on the screen, my opponent has decided to bring the Terrakion, the Fortress, the Kamala, the Charizard, the Naganadel, and the Fable. So he's brought a very threatening team, quite offensive with the defensive backbone of the Fortress and the Fable. I'm quite surprised to see potentially no Milotic as well, which could have a great matchup, especially Flame Orb against the Marowswine particularly. So yeah, just a few things to potentially be concerned about. There's no Mega Absol as well, which is threatened particularly by the Altaria. And no Steelix as well, which could potentially take a hit from the Altaria as well. So the only real threat directly to this sweep is, ironically, the Charizard, which we can't hit for anything other than resistive damage. So if we can get some damage on that, then we're going to be in a great position to actually sweep him. So that's the idea, so let's get right into it. We are going to pop it on slow and start. So it's going to lead with the Tentacruel, which is a solid matchup, allows me to get up potential top, never mind. It was more predicting his Fortress lead, so we can just go straight for a Scald, get rid of its Sturdy, and see what happens. He's going to go into his Naganadel, going to fire off an Ice Beam, pop his red card, which was quite interesting, and it brings us straight into Celebi, which is actually perfect. It allows us to get a free substitute on his hazards potentially, which he goes for. And it means that we also get a free Nasty Plot as well, as he switches directly into his Charizard. So going to go for that Nasty Plot, and this is now our prime time to go for that Baton Pass. So immediately we're given the opportunity straight away to set up and go straight into our Mega Altaria. As he fires off a Fire Punch, revealing he is a physical Charizard, and he couldn't break a sub, so that's going to force him out into his Fable, which turns out not to be unaware, and we do actually get a critical hit which one-shots. That crit, as it turns out, does not matter, because I did, as you see in the chart, 2-hit code him anyway, seeing as a crit only does 1.5 times, I believe. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, that crit doesn't matter overall, just keeps me one more type of voice, I guess, unless he wanted to double out afterwards. Never mind, I clicked that. We are a scrub. Alright, so now I'm more of the right place again. So yeah, go for that Hyper Voice, knock him out, and he's going to go straight with Komala. So Komala is something that could definitely take a hit, and at this point I'm looking for something... I'm looking for a chance to set up an agility as well, because that means I can outspeed things like the Terrakion and the Naganadel, so it can't revenge kill me. So you're going to go for it here. I know I can live a Play Rough, which is what he turns out to go for. We do live it, and this means we are now in prime positioning. Just going to knock out the Kamala, and he's going to go into his Fortress, which we one-shot with a Flamethrower. Nice critical hit, doesn't matter. They're at +2, it's 4 times weak. He's going to try going into his Naganadel. That drops to a Hyper Voice. So it's really looking good at this point. He still doesn't go into his Charizard. He goes into his Terrakion, which is not Focus Sash, it's not Scarfed. That thing drops to the Hyper Voice as well. So now all he's got is his Charizard. So because we know he doesn't break a sub, we can just go for a Roost. However, he reveals the Curse, which could be a very big threat, especially as he reveals Steel Wing as well. So he, fortunately for us, misses, and Hyper Voice does actually 50%, so we do nearly 2-hit KO. This is turning out to be a bit of a problem for him, but we do end up, it is a roll, we can do more than 50%. As you can see, Steel Wing does not do 50% to us just yet. So, one more Hyper Voice, we'll finish the game. Good game to Ben. Sorry it had to unfold like this, but it's a very good thing for us. Now that we've got a big differential win here, it's going to put us in good stead when it comes to the playoff contention against those like Alan and actually Jake as well, who's on a phenomenal run at the moment. So, yes, good game to Ben, and I believe next week we are up against... I don't know who we're up against. We're going to find out. I guess we're going to find out who we're up against next week. Let's have a look. We are up against Alan. No, we're not. We already played Alan and lost. We're up against Valter next week. That's who we're up against. We're up against Valter, coach of the Scaling Shamans, and yeah, hopefully that will be a win for us. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do hit the thumbs up. And if you didn't dislike, please leave some constructive criticism in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys later.